Have you ever heard the term cadence and just thought, huh? Let's have a chat about it. What is cadence? Well, it's very simple. Cadence is the number of steps that you take per minute. Well, what's the right cadence? Well, contrary to popular social media belief, there is no right cadence. But my friend told me that I have to run at 180 cadence. And the dude on social media, he told me that I have to run at a fast cadence. There's 5 things I want you to know about cadence. Number 1, contrary to popular belief, there is no one right cadence. Number 2, your cadence will change depending on what speed you're running at. Number 3, 2 people who are the same height may have a different cadence at the same running speed. And this is due to a number of things, not limited to our personal limb length discrepancies. Between 2 people, we might have different limb lengths. Also, depending on the size of your feet, you might also take slightly longer strides. Also, differences in personal physiology, such as the power that we produce at specific muscles. Different people also have differences in tendon and fascia elasticity, also known as stiffness. Now remember, in running, stiffness is actually a good thing. It helps us get off the ground quicker. You could just label all of those things as our own personal biomechanics. Number 4, your brain knows better than you or anybody else what's best for your body. You can artificially influence your cadence, but it's not a good idea. Research has shown that you are the most economical and the most efficient when you're running at the cadence that your brain tells you to run at. Everything when you run is controlled by reflexes. Everything. The only decision that you should be making is how fast or how slow you run. Point number 5, save the best for last. Shortening your stride does not stop overstriding. And here's why. Because there's a common misconception that overstriding is landing in front of you. And that's wrong. The second misconception is that shortening your stride makes it so that you land under your center of mass. And that's also wrong. The third misconception is that a short stride is really what we want. We don't see any pro runners with short strides. They have gigantic long strides. So if we always land in front of ourselves and a short stride is really not the desirable thing, then what is? There's 3 types of stride, and it has nothing to do with which part of your foot is hitting the ground first. So what are the 3 types of stride? Number 1, landing on a forward traveling leg. Think about how we walk. When we walk, we swing the leg forwards and it lands as it's traveling forwards. Some people actually run like that. Number 2, landing on a leg that is neither traveling forwards or traveling backwards. So those are the 2 things that we don't want in our landing. Landing on a foot that's physically traveling forwards, or landing on a foot that hasn't been pulled backwards. Number 3. Okay, so this is the one we do want. We want to land with the foot physically pulling back. Now, it's not super noticeable when you look at a full speed video, but when you slow motion it down, it's really obvious. Now, here's where we get into the weeds a little bit, because we want to land on a backward traveling leg. And if you just shorten your stride and increase your cadence, what you don't do is change the biomechanical reason why that's happening. Now, remember what I said earlier, having a faster cadence doesn't change how you land. It just changes how many times you land. Now, there is only one of those types of landings that is actually functional for running, and that's the 3rd one, landing on a backward traveling leg. Now, how you land is purely a factor of your personal running biomechanics, and absolutely nothing to do with how much you can squat, how long you can hold a plank, or how flexible you are. Remember, the gait cycle when running is about timing. It's a sequenced movement, which is made up of lots of movements at lots of joints. Now, what the sling method does is works on these factors that make up good running form and good landings. Now, how you land is of the highest importance, because how you land dictates what forces you receive from the ground, how long you spend on the ground, how you propel yourself forward, and how you get off the ground. It's also determining how efficient and how economical you are when you run. Now remember, shortening your stride, increasing your cadence, doesn't mean you're a better runner, doesn't mean you're faster, and it doesn't mean you're landing well. Biomechanics is also influenced strongly by posture. The sling method is running biomechanics. The sling method is the science of running biomechanics. Now remember, landing on a forward travelling leg is already dysfunctional. So shortening an already dysfunctional stride just makes it a shorter dysfunctional stride. In fact, squats, planks and stretching will actually make it worse, because how you land is actually as a result of the opposite muscles that you use when you squat.